Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and celebrity interviews live from the Grotto with Greg Hanna. Greg, what's going on, man? How are you?
I am beside myself with excitement because we're going to talk to one of my absolute favorite actors ever, Flash Gordon.
Absolutely. So, again, Sam Jones, Flash Gordon. Sam, when we talked the last time, welcome to the show. When we talked the last time, you know what blew me away? It was ultimately how of a humble man you are. But really, I wish I could have had about 52 stories of watching Flash Gordon because I literally watched it maybe 20 or 25 times the movie. And there's not many movies in my life that I watched that many times. Why do you think so many people watch your movie over and over again?
Well, first of all, guys, thank you for having me. Well, I think the question is, yes, it's a great point. It's why is Flash Gordon still relevant? I mean, we filmed this 43 years ago, came out 42 years ago. I think he's relevant because he's just a guy. So the world, every man, woman, and child, they'll look at this character, Flash Gordon, and go, wait a minute. Oh my gosh, these challenges. He's faced with adversity. Oh, he's vulnerable. How's he going to do it? He has no superpowers. And then he comes in, he defends innocence. He neutralizes the threat and or brings them to justice. So I think they say, well, wait a minute, he's doing this. He's just a guy, he has no superpowers. If he can do that, then by golly, I can do it too. And I think that's why it's relevant. And I think that's the message. And yes.
Totally love that. I mean, it's like, just like you said, it's like the underdog winning. And that just makes everybody feel great. You know, one of the favorite ones I loved, later James Bond, that you had fought James Bond, Timothy Dalton, as the prince. And that was an amazing fight, with the tilting, little platter that you guys were on.
Yeah.
And what was that scene like doing that? I mean, how did they do that? It looks like it was real, but I mean, you just standing in a green screen, or how did they do that?
No, we had blue screen back then, but there was really that was the battle disc. It was a rotating disc, and when it was elevated in its highest elevation, I think it was about 25 feet. Wow. So what you saw when the camera looked down, you saw infinity, space, but we had just a bunch of stacked boxes, and when we fell quite a bit. We fell onto these stacked boxes, which was quite funny, but it actually worked. Remember, we're going back to 1979. But yeah, we had three technicians. We had two operating the spikes, two different sections of spikes, and then of course we had the other technician operating the tilt of the battle disc. So yeah. It wasn't so much that we rehearsed it for weeks, but if we had rolled and tumbled onto the spikes, of course, we wouldn't have been hurt because it was an ingenious idea. It was bicycle pumps that they used for the shaft. Yeah. Hollow bicycle pumps, this metal, and the tips of the spikes were a hard rubber. So if we had rolled on it, then we'd have to stop production and repair it. So, yeah. But Timothy was great. James Bond, he wasn't James Bond then, of course.
Nope.
But we had that great chemistry and camaraderie and conflict of being representing England, and he and then of course me representing America. So we brought a lot of that good history into it, and just had a lot of fun.
Oh, that was great.
It definitely does. And I said I have so many favorite scenes of the movie, but what about for the time you shot it and how Greg and I love it so much? You said the ordinary that you did it, you were able to do it, Sam, just out of nowhere, meaning that you were just a guy. I think that's one reason, but I also think that science fiction at that time and just the different things and how you were able to save the world and how you had so many challenges to try to save that world, right? There's so many, you just did it. Kind of like how we had to get on Zoom right now. There was complications, but you saved it. You saved yourself. Yeah. That's the character, Flash Gordon. And I think that he is the only superhero I've ever, I guess, have dealt with that really had no superpowers and yet could be able to save the world, the athlete, the football star, and how he thought he could conquer everything, and he had to figure everything out and had to ask for other people's help. It wasn't just, and that's the other part of being a leader. Leadership is what Flash Gordon is as well, how he was able to become a leader to save the world.
Yeah, absolutely, Neil. I just think it came down to, of course, I got the part also because there was a naivete about Sam J. Jones in those years, 22 years old, 23, and of course for Flash Gordon. And when it came to somebody in trouble, even Sam J. Jones or Flash Gordon, we don't call board meetings if somebody's getting attacked right now. We don't call the board meeting and call in advisors. We unless we have time to plan. Usually, Flash Gordon didn't have a whole lot of time to plan, so we just reacted. So his character just reacted, and I think that's the other message he sends. If something is happening right now, and there's no time to plan, you gotta go with your best instincts. And usually the best instincts is common sense, practical thinking. That's it. And if you have the time to plan, you call in your advisors and you seek counsel on any issue. Yeah, absolutely.
That's so true. I mean, be flexible, adapt, and overcome. I mean, I think those are the traits of any person who's getting through life well, or an entrepreneur, business owner, a leader, yourself, an author. I see you as an entrepreneur as well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, certainly with your new comic book, or what do they call them? Graphic novels now. I'm not sure what to call it. But
yeah, thanks. I'm so excited. I collaborated with Rob Archie, writer, an artist, and then of course Joe Archie as well. And this is my first comic book, aka it's a graphic novel. So what's the simple definition of a graphic novel? This is a 54-page comic book, guys, and the title is called Sam J. Jones Saves the Galaxy. Okay, which I love. I absolutely love. So I mean, and what we do, we talked to the fans before we did the launch, and they said, "Hey, we're thinking about just doing, all these Comic Cons I do. I talk to a lot of them on almost every weekend. If I'm available, I'm doing a Comic Con." And they wanted to come on board. They said, "No, you need to do. You needed us. You needed us to come on board." And we said, "Well, what do you think?" Well, Indiegogo, because they want ownership. They want a part. They use the word backers. I like the word partnerships. So we decided, based on what they wanted and their ownership, we decided to launch a couple of days ago. Just Indiegogo. Sam J. Jones Saves the Galaxy, and right now. The first 2 days, I think we're day 3 or 4. We're almost there at the goal, and it's incredible, and it's very, very exciting.
It's amazing.
Wow! And so, was this the first time you ever tried to do something like this, raise money like this?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's my very first comic book. And Rob Archie is super talented. Joe Archie as well. This is their core competency. I just came on board and we got the outline, the script and all that. And we just went back and forth, and Rob really pressed in on the story. And I love it because it's the same thing we discussed before. It's action adventure, it's sci-fi, and anything, and it's family friendly. It's got the edge now. It's got the serious edge to it. But it's for everybody. But anything can happen because, again, in this story, Sam J. Jones, is vulnerable. He's vulnerable because there are no superpowers. There's no superpowers. So he has to depend on his wit and his athleticism. That's it. So we're very excited, and the way it's going right now on this launch at Indiegogo, Sam J. Jones Saves the Galaxy. We're probably a couple of weeks away from going to print. So get ready to receive your copies, guys.
I'm excited. Hey, as long as it's signed, that'll be great. I'll send you a copy of my book signed, and you can send me a comic book. I'll be so excited. Yeah. But I have a quick question to ask you. When you're talking to your fans, I know, just going to step back a sec to Flash Gordon. When you're talking to fans, especially maybe younger ones, do they get Flash Gordon and the Flash, DC confused?
Yeah, it's funny. John Wesley, who played the Flash, we appear quite a few. I've seen him maybe 5-6 times at the Comic Cons, and I always ask the promoter, put our tables next to each other so we can have some fun. Okay, so I'll get some younger kids who can't really discern, or they haven't really. They're so young, they haven't figured out the difference between the Flash or Flash Gordon, and they'll bring the Flash action figure up to my table and ask me to sign. I said, no, you need to take that to John. He's the Flash. I'm Flash Gordon. No, Mr. Jones, I want you to sign it. I said, I can't have him sign. And then also, when John gets up from his table, I will actually go and sit in his chair, just as the practical joker.
That's great.
Totally. Let's jump into specifically the whole thing of your character, Sam J. Jones, versus Flash Gordon. Now you're both superheroes. What's the difference between the two, especially so we can learn more about the characters coming out with the graphic novel?
Well, yeah, you're talking about the what's different about the character Sam J. Jones in the comic book and Flash
Gordon.
Well, guys, no shocker. Okay, I say this a lot. It's so uncanny. It's so crazy how Sam J. Jones, the person, and Flash Gordon, the similarities are almost perfect. It's frightening. From way back to 1979, even to now. Remember, I was a Marine. I became a Marine at the age of 17. So I've been a Marine in my mind still for 51 years. So I bring the military background. I bring the Southern country roots of Florida, Tennessee in my very early years. And then, of course, California has been all those other years. And Flash Gordon, okay. And, of course, I'm sorry, I played Marine Corps football, Sam J. Jones. So Flash Gordon, quarterback, New York Jets, and Sam J. Jones, Marine Corps football, with the military background and who I am as a Southern country boy, with a little bit of that yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, that upbringing, and Flash Gordon with his upbringing, not much of a difference, guys. It's remarkable. It really is.
That's amazing. That's so good. Now, I know you're just getting this to print, the new comic book. Do you have thoughts of having a series? You going to wait and see how it is, or do you have the next one lined up?
Yeah, so I'm in the I talked 2-3 years ago. I talked to Mark Millar, who did all these incredible comic books that went to movies. Kick A. I don't know if I can say the A word on here, but one was Kick A. And can I say the A word or not?
No, yes. Go ahead.
Okay. And then, of course, oh God, I threw myself off on the rabbit trail. And his famous the Kingsman and all that. I mean, it's just incredible. And so he gave me some good advice. Just make it real. Bring your passion and the people that come on board. But again, Rob Archie, when he approached me on this and said, I got this great idea. I first met him at a Comic-Con, and he had a painting of Captain America and 2 small paintings and a painting of Wonder Woman. And I bought those paintings from him, and then we got to know each other. And he said, Sam, I think it's time. You need to do a Sam J. Jones comic book. There's a lot of many Flash Gordon comic books, and I'm very happy I have a huge collection personally, not just comic books. I have a huge extensive Flash Gordon collection, and comic books are part of that. But when he said the Sam J. Jones, then when we came up with the title, it was his idea, and I said, "Wow, Sam J. Jones saves the galaxy." I thought, well, I mean it's appropriate. It's a great story in the comic book. I'm vulnerable. You don't know. Could I? Yeah, I could get hurt. Maybe I do get really hurt. Maybe I almost die because, again, there's no superpowers here. But it's funny. Let me just bring this in about superpowers. Stan Lee, bless his heart, he and I went back and forth for years in a good way. He was such a cool guy. But when we did my documentary called Life After Flash, we interviewed him. And this is Stan Lee. This is his famous quote. You can't be a superhero unless you have superpowers. So he said, and I think the producer and the director said, wait a minute, but Sam J. Jones, okay, he's a Flash Gordon is a superhero. Well, yeah, there might be a couple of different exceptions, but in reality, you can't be a superhero unless you have superpowers. That's Stan Lee quoting. But I wanted to say, Stan, I went to tell him afterwards, but of course he passed on. I wanted to say, but Stan Lee, the very first superhero before any of them, Buck Rogers, 1933, and then 8 months later, in January of 1934, Flash Gordon. Both of these superheroes, no superpowers, and they were the model, okay? They were the mold and the model to copy after that. So I just wanted to say that to Stan.
That's really great. And then they had the Buck Rogers out around the same time that you had your show out, right?
Yeah. What? No, let me see. Did the movie or
no? They did a series.
It was a series.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, that came out. That came out later, right? In the early 80s.
That was early 80s.
Who was the star of the Buck Rogers thing, Sam?
Well, that's Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was a huge fan of Buck Rogers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was wonderful. But I, fortunately, Dino De Laurentiis brought in Buster Crabbe, the original Flash Gordon, to help promote our movie. 2 weeks, so it would have been 2 weeks before Christmas, 1980, and he helped us promote that, which was incredible.
Wow,
really amazing.
All right,
and he was also the first Flash Gordon. He was the first Buck Rogers. He was the first Captain Gallant. He was the first gold medalist. He was the first swimmer and medalist. And that's Buster Crabbe. Okay.
Wow.
All right. So now I'm pulling up. This is definitely a real opportunity, as I'm talking reel shorts, all the different things I like to do with celebrities. And I'm looking at the different clips of Flash Gordon as I'm pulling these up. Again, the football scene was amazing. I love the crashing the wedding. I'm bringing up all the favorite scenes as I'm trying to remember them now, Greg. Then there's the to the death. That was another amazing scene. I'm just Googling right now. Yeah. And the deadly ritual. Let's go to the deadly ritual. Oh my gosh, Sam. That one freaked me out. Greg, I don't know if you, and I'm sure Sam can tell us the story again and you'll remember exactly. Man, I was so scared for you because remember, I was 6 years old when this movie came out. So I was so scared for you because I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen to you with the deadly ritual? Are you going to survive this? And how lucky you were to survive it.
Yeah, I love that vernacular. I've never heard it, but you're talking about reaching my hand into the wood where the wood beast was.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. I've never heard that description called the deadly ritual, but that's exactly
that's what it's Googling, and it's Googling it right now on YouTube.
That's amazing. Yeah. No, I've had men come to my table in their mid to late 40s, early 50s, and say, "You traumatized my entire childhood." I said, "Wait a minute, what did I do? What did I do?" He said, "Yeah, you put your arm down that tree trunk where the wood beast was, and I had crazy nightmares." I said, "Well, are the nightmares over now?" "Yes, now that I met you, it's over." Okay, okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm just an actor. But what happened during that scene, which was crazy, because we were jumping around from sound stage to sound stage in London, and that was on the set of Arboria. Yeah, Arboria, big $1 million set in 1979, if you could believe that. And so I asked the prop guys, the lights have been out for 2 weeks, and we just came in and they started to light it and all that. And we came in for a quick rehearsal. And I turned to the prop guys. I said, "Hey, have you shined a flashlight down the tree trunk?" And he looked at me and went, "No." I haven't. Okay. So when we filmed that, I decided not to shine a flashlight. God forbid there was a snake or something in there for real, just to feed off of that reaction. That in reality, the soundstage lights have been out. No one's really checked. I'm sure he did, but he just wanted to communicate that to me to probably get me in character. And I decided to go with it. And that was, there could have been something in there. Okay.
Wow, that's great. So nobody tricked you. Nobody like filled it with shaving cream or put anything in there.
Yeah. Oh,
jump
yeah.
Out at you.
Yeah. Yeah. But the trick was the way he responded.
Oh boy. Yeah.
No, I haven't checked in there. Okay.
It's a mind game for sure.
So I'll definitely have to check that scene out and check that out on YouTube. But Greg has his favorite question he likes to ask all the guests, unless you have another question for Sam before that. What is the question, Greg?
Yeah, no, this is it. Let's get right to it. So this is for me personally and for everyone who listens to my podcast. You know, Sam, what is it that you feel is the most important thing in life that you've ever learned?
Oh, God, bring it down to one. Just, Max von Sydow, people before him, people that I trusted my life when I was young, said, really you need to be an excellent listener in life. And it took me, it took me a lot of years. I've been married to Ramona for 31 years. So with her, I probably became an excellent listener probably 3 years ago. Okay. I'm a work in progress, but yeah, just be an excellent listener. And we have to add this last couple of years of COVID, we're human beings. We're not designed for isolation. We are designed for community. We're having a community here. Yeah, it's over the Zoom, the video and all that, but there's nothing like getting out and just a community. So with COVID and being sort of isolated, and now we've received the announcement, okay, you can leave your house now. You can go outside, go to the Comic-Con, go to the store, say hi to people. This is what we need. And during this time of COVID, even when it was first opened and we got out there, I think we were so oversensitive and so easily offended. So I'd say, number one, be an excellent listener. Don't get so easily offended. People are hurting. We don't know if that person that just verbally abused you, we don't know if he just lost a family member or lost his wife or something. We have no idea. So be an excellent listener. Don't be so easily offended, and just smile, because if you smile and laugh, you're going to make other people do it. Just enjoy life. Yeah, those three things: be an excellent listener, and smile. Don't be easily offended, and cause other people to smile and laugh too. It makes a huge difference.
That's great. Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. Where is the best place we can learn more about you and purchase the comic book? Where can we go?
Yeah, it's so simple, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready? It's so simple. You don't even need to write it down. Just go to Google and type in Indiegogo Sam J. Jones Saves the Galaxy. And then, type in Indiegogo Sam J. Jones Saves the Galaxy. And there's 5 tiers that Joe Archie put up. Really cool. And the 5th tier is the big commander one. And you get all the art, you get all the comic book, all these perks. And for the big, you get a private one-on-one. This is right. A private one-on-one meal with yours truly, Sam J. Jones. So you say to yourself, well, how am I going to have a private meal with Sam J. Jones? Well, you go there, you work it out with Joe. I live in San Diego, of course, you're not coming to my house, okay? If you do, we have a lot of surprises for you, okay? Remember, I'm a Marine and a security guy too. But if you happen to be in the San Diego area, that's where I live, then of course you work that out with Joe. We'll meet at a cool restaurant. And then Joe's posting my Comic-Con schedule. So this is cool. Let's say all you listeners in New York, I'm even going overseas in Vienna, New York, Texas, whatever. You look at my schedule, you talk to Joe. I think the schedule's already posted. And I'm calling it the Sam J. Jones 2023 comic book tour. That's what it is. It's the Sam J. Jones 2023 comic book tour. You'll look at that tour schedule and say, wait a minute, Sam, you're going to be in Jersey. You're going to be in Texas for this Comic-Con, this tour. Well, I'm going to be there. So we can work it out there. We can work it out there. And we're going to make it easy. We're going to make it easy and oversimplify everything for everybody.
All right. This is great stuff. We appreciate it. Thanks again. And Greg, whoa, that was fun. Appreciate it, guys. All right. That was Celebrity Interviews live from the Grotto with Greg Hanna. Guys, take care.
All right, Dave, I'm going to run some of these tapes. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, ah. 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 Oh, my God. Whoa, no. No, whoa. Whoa, whoa, no. Whoa. Oh! Ah!
Come on, work with me here, work with me, come on! This party's a disaster! Come on, work with me here. Work with me.
Oh, hi, Dave. Oh, hey, Henry. How's it going?
It's going good.
All right. Well, keep up the good work, sir.
Thank you so much.
Ah! Hey, Dave.
What's up, sir?
Where's the viewfinder on this camera?
Oh, it's right here, Nick.
Huh. You know, you're like a wizard. Ah!
So they tell me.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and my guest today, I know I'm going to have a fun conversation back and forth, especially because soap operas and wrestling are the same thing. So my guest today is Carolyn Hennessy. She, again, is an award winner, General Hospital, and so much more. Carolyn, you're shocked, right? I'm a former pro wrestler, so I just wanted to hit it off straight and say I know soap operas. I know how to tell that soap opera story. And so
you absolutely do. You absolutely do. And for me, walking onto that soundstage, it's like I'm getting in the ring. I don't quite know what's coming at me sometimes, but
you never know what's going to happen, what's going to come at you, what situation, what can happen. So let's kind of talk about, do you have background in theater? Does that kind of help you also in a way? Because, you talk about shooting a soap opera versus shooting a television series versus shooting a movie. Totally different number of takes, number of things. A soap opera, you better get it right because we got to move on. First time.
They are paying you to bring your A game the first time. You don't get to warm up into it. You don't get to kind of shine in your coverage. You don't get to really kind of play a lot. I do because I make sure I play. But it's your A game first time, because very often they get it, or they know they can kind of fix whatever may have happened in editing, and they're gone. They move on. So it's like there's no I can do this better. Every once in a while you just go, okay, you know what, I know you liked it, but please, I can do this better. And that's very, very rare. So because we're doing sometimes 160 pages a day, whereas a television show or a film, maybe 3 1/4 pages. maybe, sometimes it's 10 pages a day, but we're doing 100, 160 thereabouts.
So there's
So
certain people that are not right for soap operas then, right? If they can't get their
say that
line.
again.
There's certain people who are just not right for soap operas, being a soap opera act.
Certain people don't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, writing a soap opera is incredible. Listen, the primetime people, the movie people, they no longer quite as much look down their nose at us, because some of them have tried it and they walk away, on crutches. They can't believe that we do what we do every single day. But writing for a soap opera, it's intricate, it's complicated. You have to not only, that's why there are like maybe 10 on staff who write for General Hospital, because you have to know what's going on in the future, where this huge story arc is going to play out, like in September or November. What's the payoff, and then what's going to be the twist that takes you into another 6 months. You also have to remember what the past is. You can't get gender wrong. You can't get years, dates, who killed who. Who was possessed at this point, who was a twin at this point. You have to, it all has to be in your head. And there's one woman, Elizabeth Cordy, who is one of the great soap writers and story editors. And she's the font of all knowledge. When I was writing the Damien Spinelli book, I would go to her and I'd say, now, who killed Alexis's mother and why?
Yeah.
Because I don't know these things, but she knows everything. And what she doesn't know probably doesn't need to be known.
So as I said, there's certain fits that are not right, because they sure. Only, it takes 6 times to get their lines right. And I'm sure you've been there, done that. And it's happened because they're good at what they do, but ultimately the first take's not the best take. So that's
yes. We also kind of all breathe a bit of a sigh of relief when there's a technical problem. It's like, no, it's not you, it's technical. It's like, oh, good. Oh, okay. I get a second chance, sometimes a third chance, but usually it's A game number one. So you have to
General Hospital for so long, which is so cool, to work other amazing projects in your career. What do you think you're most known for, Carolyn? If it's not
at this point, well, if you're under 4 feet tall, it's still probably Disney's Vanguard show, Jessie, which is playing. So the kids will,
and that'll live on forever, Jessie. Jessie will never grow up, and all these different. If you're going to get residuals, then that's okay.
What? Oh, it's not about the money. Not at all. Yeah,
I remember my kids watching Jessie and watching it. So that's where you become, and that's amazing to think about kids shows, how you can be such a recognizable person more than other things. Like they every day, it's just like General Hospital. Your fan base is every day, 5 days a week. You're on.
We are sometimes more family than family. We are more family. Certainly in the soap world, we're more family than biological family, because we are dependable. We're trustworthy. We're not irresponsible in terms of being there for the audience. We are there for you. You can trust that we will be there for you. You may hate us, you may love us, but we're there. We are like rocks. So if you're under this tall, it's Jessie. Now I've got a lot of people over 4 feet that not only love General Hospital, because that is kind of the thing that I am most known for, but also I've got people that are college age saying, you were my childhood. Like, oh, you're a Jessie watcher. Okay. All right. Well, Mrs. Chesterfield is still tough as nails, so you better straighten up and fly right. Just, whatever.
And so think about that, and think about being on a Disney set versus General Hospital. So kind of tell us, you talked off air, how you're open up to working, so you're not tied down to one thing. You like multiple things.
I've not been under contract in the 17 years that Diane Miller has graced the city of Port Charles. No, I have not been under contract. So I'm able to kind of go to the executive producer and go to casting and say, you know what? I'm shooting a movie for a month. Sorry. I'm shooting NCIS for a week. Sorry. But it's a tightrope that I walk, because again, I want to keep General Hospital happy, because let's face it, It's the gift that keeps on giving day after day
Yeah,
after day.
it's a working actor like that kind of working actor where your
And listen,
brand is synonymous. Who do you think your ideal audience is? Who watches soap operas now?
oh my God. Well, more people than you would actually expect. Certainly, it's because you don't have to stay home. You know, it used to be women in the 50s, in the 60s, staying at home, ironing, watching a soap opera, you know, as they fetch and carry for the husband that's coming home, you know, and get their martini. No, that's not it anymore. It is, you can now you know, you can tape it. You can VDR. I don't know what those terms is, but I never
DVR,
I never
yes.
do it.
You can go back and you
not
can
on
binge watch it later. Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right. If it's not on Netflix or my computer or Amazon Prime, I'm probably not watching it. So I don't know how to, you know, record it for later. But a lot of people do that, which is wonderful. But so many people now grew up with it with their grandparents, with their moms. That's how the stories are continuing to be passed down. And honestly, wives will watch it and a husband will say, what's that? Is that Barb from Cougar Town? Wait, or is that what it's, or kids will come in and go, hey, that's Mrs. Chesterfield. What are you watching, Mom? And then it's like the Venus flytrap. You know, they come in, they're hooked. They're fans for life. So, and we're never going to run out of that supply. So that's the audience.
That's brand awareness for you to be discovered. People recognize you everywhere.
Yeah.
How are actors doing that now?
Because it's also lawyers and doctors and business people of all.
Anybody that has a waiting room. Anyone that has a waiting room. There's a soap opera.
Anyone who waiting room, exactly.
Or certain waiting rooms, the ones that you don't want to be in. You know, you end up, boom, it's popping on, or it's in a laundromat, wherever it is. But what I'm saying is,
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We are still a viable, dependable force. The 4 soap operas that are left are still, again, as much family as bio family, sometimes more.
I think the challenge for your industry now, and I wanted to ask you this question because you're a veteran actor, is there is a lot of work, but there isn't a lot of work. Okay. And that because they don't shoot many films anymore. There's not many major production films. The people aren't going to the theaters anymore. There's another option. There's streaming, but then they're not paying a lot of the actors what they're worth in some of these streaming networks because they're not paying the people who created them enough money. What do you see? You're so glad you have General Hospital because there's not tons of productions, tons of opportunities where it's a script you really want to do, right?
Listen, I can make any script a joy for myself because actors act. Actors act. They don't throw fits. They don't say no to this or no to that. I mean, listen, obviously, of course, there are exceptions to everything. Like, for instance, you know, nobody wants to see me take my clothes off because they want to sell their product. So anyway, and I you know, I certainly don't want to do that. So there are things that I have actually said no to. But most of the time, 95% of the time, actors act. And that's our job. That's our business. So is there less and less coming down the pike? For many, many people, the answer is yes. For me, blessedly, not yet. Because I'm Diane Miller on a soap opera, very glamorous, very well-dressed, very, you know, but I'm also first and foremost a character actress. I've been a leading lady, but I'm first and foremost a character actress. And there will always be jobs for character actors. It's great. The ingenues may come and go, or hopefully morph into a character actor, but sometimes they just don't. And let's also not forget that as we speak right now, there's a writer's strike going on. So no one is working. No one that I know is working.
So that's I see. I've been hearing about it.
Oh yeah,
understanding. So tell me what's happening. What are the times that a writer's strike happens during the launch of ChatGPT 2? You know, go figure. Like, you know, the way things are changing with AI and writing, and how writers are having the biggest challenges. And that's
what this strike is about. This strike is about
really.
AI. This strike is about AI, streaming services, residuals for writers, and they deserve everything that they're asking.
They totally do, because they are the ones that create these lives and these ideas that you and I, we can perform it in some sort of way. We can come up with the idea. Yeah.
Right. the producers, I'm confident, will end up seeing the light, not letting it last 100 days like the last one did, or 6 months like the one in '88 did. And they will just kind of go, look, we're going to give it to you anyway. Maybe you can work with us a little bit on this point or this point, but we're going to give it to you. And so let's just stop this now. So everybody that I know who is not working can go back to work. Soap opera. Interestingly enough, I think we've got scripts written through, well, I'm not actually quite sure, but we have scripts written for a long time. So we're still viable, and the soap actors are still working. And this is when you go, thank God for the soaps.
Yeah.
Listen, I've seen with my friends in picket lines over at Warner Brothers. Sorry, Warner Brothers.
Oh.
But yeah, SAG actors can actually not work without repercussions at this point. But after this writer's strike, there's the director's contract is coming up, and then the actor's contract is coming up. So we're in that season.
So the thing that you see is happening is you're in the ideal audience. Your brand awareness. Have you used this brand in a way for ability to take you to the next level in your career and other things? Think about it like specific shows you were on and different things, the appearances. So you could be working for years and not even acting. The way things are going, people, once you have a brand, it's hard to get rid of that brand because somebody knows you. And that's the power of brand, that you can endorse anything, you could do anything, you could get work, you can look at opportunities. Have you looked at that? Do you have any lines or different things that you promote or anything yourself?
I do, and I'm just starting my I'm revisiting my little online, it's not a podcast, it's more of like a little drop-in. It's called Carolyn's Carpet Bag, and it is, I guess you would call it an unboxing, or because it's a carpet bag, you're unbagging for the certainly not 25-year-old set. It's the women of a certain age that want to see this product or that product. And it's just fun things that I come up with, because this is still a demographic that is widely, dismissed and not recognized. Totally. And it's like, they're older. We don't need to market to them. Oh, yes, you do.
You better market to it. That's one of the biggest things I've said to my clients that are a lot older. I mean, I'm 50, but I mean, but what I'm saying is,
you look 40.
They're older. So what'd you say? Philip?
I said, you look 40.
Thank you. I did not look 42 years ago. So I owe that to people helping me with my health. No, it's because health is wealth, bottom line. And you got to do what you love. And if you don't do what you love, you miss out in life. And everyone has their passion. I see your passion. But you're right. They don't market to that. It's such an important thing. And they don't. And they market to older people, especially 60 and over, is medications. And they're not dying anytime soon. Never.
No, the longevity of people in this country is now extended. I don't know actually if that is still true.
COVID's changed the numbers, but if you're married or with somebody and you have family, you're likely to live to 95.
Right.
Or more, Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, advertisers take note. And it's not just.
They're not going to, because they're going to refuse to.
Yeah. So we're not going anywhere. We're not anywhere soon. And I'm not quite that. But I'm a woman of a certain age. And I'll tell you something. This is also a reason why the Alexis and Diane pairing on General Hospital, these two best friends, because we are women of a certain age, and we are showing women of a certain age you can absolutely still have your best friends who aren't out to steal your guy, who aren't out to stab you in the back, who only want to love and support you. And I can't tell you the fan mail that I get about that, and people at fan events saying, well, I love Lexis and Diane. And it's like, yes, me too, more please. So it's this I've used whatever platform I have to kind of either for animals and animal advocacy, or to say, oh yes, all of us are still viable, yes, but important. And it's mandatory that you take us into account. So that's what Carolyn's Carpet Bag is going to.
I find it fascinating. It's such great stuff. And I'm going to have you on again. I don't know if Harlan told me. Oh yeah, isn't it fast? But because I have co-hosts that ask questions about your career and different things like that today, based on me being not around, but we're going to do it again because it was a fun conversation. I have some great ideas. Soon. Oh, I'm with it. Best place people can go right now. Where?
Carolyn Hennessy, and it's the short spelling of Hennessy, Hennessy, and that's on Instagram, that's on Facebook, that's on my site, which needs revamping anyway, and that's on Twitter, it's on Pinterest, it's wherever you can, but it's one word, Carolyn Hennessy. So there you go. Find me and follow me, and then you will be the first to know about Carolyn's carpet bag, because
Okay,
it's also
so with people that have been tuning in, what's going on? Quick little tip to let so that when you come back, you can tell me a little bit more that's happened. Where are there's some really your character is going through some
Oh, my character? Yes. Well, my character is in the love triangle of her life. She's in the ring. She's in the wrestling ring, and she's wrestling Holly Sutton for the love of Robert Scorpio, Tristan Rogers, and Emma Sams. And I have a feeling that I will be you in the ring. I will demolish. I will.
I love it. I love it. We appreciate it. It was such fun. Thanks for stopping by again. And
my pleasure.
Schedule. You're listening and watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back.
Alas, poor talking machine. I knew him well. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy?
Dave, I'm not dead. I'm still doing Pittsburgh Sportsline every Tuesday night and many other weekly shows on BPTV.
That's great, Al, but then who's this?
I don't know, but we must leave right now. Let's go.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and I'm excited first to welcome my co-host, Paul Hollis, author of the Hollow Man series. Paul, how are you, man? I know you're excited about our guest.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm excited about talking to you, Allie.
Yes, so our guest today is Allie Colleen, country music star. How are you, Allie? Thanks for stopping by. And let's talk about, first of all, did you always want to be a musician? Was that something growing up as a singer? Is that something you wanted to do?
Always. Yeah, I don't think anything else really crossed my mind, in the sense of like, I love animals. If I had a plan B, we'd go with animals, but it's always been music.
And so growing up in Oklahoma, is that something you said has always been music? Who were the musicians you were listening to?
My whole relationship with music has always been pretty isolated. It's always been me and music, in the back of my closet, or by the time I was 16 and I could drive, it was just me in the car, you know what I mean? But for a very long time, it was just me and music. It was just me and writing. And I started writing when I was like 8 or 9. I loved writing like jingles and songs and stuff like that. But I think it like really came together for me probably like 14 or 15 when I started playing guitar, and then you have a whole song to show somebody, opposed to like, you want to listen to me sing, watch this. So that was really cool. Just getting to grow up like with a guitar, like as my friend, and like kind of do it in that way. So all of that to say, there's a lot of people that I look up to in music. But the sound and what I write about and all that kind of stuff always was just kind of a little personal thing for me.
You're creating it yourself, coming up with your own creativity, it sounds like that.
It's weird to word it like that, because then you sound cooler than you are. I was just trying things, and then I enjoyed what stuck. So
what musicians do you like growing up, did you watch and listen to?
Growing up, country music wasn't something that I was around a lot, which I think always kind of surprises people. But there were those staple voices in my house a lot, of like Randy Travis, and I'm a huge Jody Messina fan. I loved Jody and like Jamie O'Neill growing up. Those were kind of my girls that I loved so much. I just loved what they chose to write about. And then since I was probably 14 or 15, I've been a huge Cody Johnson fan. He's always done the Kojo thing. And so we've always done the Alco thing. So took that from Cody. Absolutely love what he does. But I'm a big pop kid. I grew up, I was maybe 12 or 13 when like Christina Aguilera's like Genie in a Bottle album came out, and Kelly Clarkson on Idol, and like all of that kind of stuff. So I was a big powerhouse female vocalist, like kid growing up. That's what I listened to.
country music has changed so much, right? In this process, there's not one type of country music. There's multiple. And what do you think what type of country music do you think you have? Like
Man, we want to do all of them, you know, and across all genres too. I think that's a really tough thing for artists my age that grew up on playlists. It's like, we have to pick a sound. What are you talking about? So I love country music for the narratives. You know, country music is that genre that gets to tell stories, and you get to paint those characters in your head on what they looked like. Like, I could tell you what every character in Don't Take the Girl looked like. You know what I mean? And like those kinds of things. So I cling to that side of country music, you know, those narratives that make people feel seen and really give you something to kind of watch as well as listen. And then on the other side, we really love rock country. Like, that's been something that's actually been really receptive of me, which I was very surprised by. But we have this song called Halos and Horns that we put out last May, and that's kind of put us into this other little subcategory that we've also really, really enjoyed, and is like very, very fun for me.
Paul, can you tell me some of the country music you like, Paul? Do you like country music?
Well, having grown up in the 60s, I'm sorry to tell you that, but yeah, I was not exposed to a lot of country music, so it never kind of hung on with me. But you know, I mean, I grew up with Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Santana and those guys, and they kind of stuck with me forever, you know. And so yeah, I mean, I'm only recently kind of started listening to some music, but I can't tell you who sings it, you know, or anything like that. But I am excited to hear your music, Allie. I would like to know where to find it, and I would very much enjoy listening to it.
Absolutely. We have kind of a little bit of everything out, which has been really fun. I know today we were going to talk about Honest Man and Tattoos, and those songs are completely different from each other. So all of my music's on Spotify or Amazon or YouTube, any of that kind of stuff that you would listen to music on. And so you can find it. And I'm sure all artists are like this, but just don't pick one song. Just do me a favor, listen to at least 3. Just listen to at least 3, because they're all so different. They're all so different. But they're all about something that we really care about.
And you're definitely seeing specifically enough in that process of your music. You're right. The more they listen to more songs, that helps the algorithm, right, for you, for Spotify and different places like that. Playlists
absolutely helps the algorithm. It helps the algorithm a lot. It also just, I know for us, when we look at like our live set going on the road, we look at the streams, you know, and we look at who's listened to what the most, and like what are they going to expect when they come to a live show. And we try and we do a good job at that, and that kind of thing. So I really like to figure out what the listeners like the most from me. But with that said, I've just doing this as long as I've done it, and for as short as I've done it, I've learned that like my morale and my happiness on stage is going to be the best show. So as much as I like to say we really try and cater to you guys, I do what I want on that stage, and I have a blast.
No, you definitely, it seems like you have a blast at what you do, and your vocals are amazing. I was listening, just jumping right into your website, and you hit me. So how do you have such great vocal? How did you build your vocals to have that sound? I could just feel it when.
Man, I have put aside like, and I didn't even do it intentionally. Just looking back, this is what I did. And again, like, music was my thing. I played sports all growing up, but other than that, I was literally in the back of my closet or out driving fields somewhere, like singing. So all of that to say, I've sang probably 8 to 12 hours a week since I was 8. In the sense of like finding what I like to sing and how I like to sing and like what works best for me. Anyone who's like familiar with just like the gym and like how muscles work and how you can grow and tone your muscles, like it's exactly the same thing. So there's a lot of different.
Really? I didn't know that. So you can, so how do you do it? So as a former professional wrestler, and I was a bad guy back in the day, and thank goodness you could see my vocal cords aren't busted out like some of these other guys. Their voices are so, I don't know how that happened, but I screamed so much and yelled, and it was fine. I don't know. I don't have a
when like,
voice.
You know, when you lift too heavy with improper form, you're just going to tear everything, right? And you're going to tear those muscle groups that you are not targeting at all because you're using them for other things. It's the same thing. So In Nashville, a 4-hour set is standard for like the kids that go and like play on Broadway and like play the cover sets and play downtown, which I did for a couple of years. Your standard set's 4 hours. You can take a break if you want, but your crowd's going to get up and go to the next bar. So we usually don't do that. So all that to say, it's just that repetition of doing it over and over in like a controlled setting, right? So especially when you look at weightlifting and you look at those really high reps with a really low weight and like getting your form perfect, you can sing songs that are completely out of your vocal range if you feel it the right way. And for months, you're going to sound awful singing that song. You know what I mean? You're not going to hit the notes that you want to, but you're just strengthening everything that you have behind that vocal push to get to it. And it takes a long time. Like I'm talking like a year and a half at least, like to kind of sing a song. So it's not like overnight success. It's nothing like that. But there are just ways to do it, I guess, long story short.
It sounds, I'm like, okay, it makes complete sense, but it's like, wow. And so why do you think I didn't blow up my vocal cords?
Well, I don't know what you do.
When I screamed and I was at a show wrestling every night and yelled.
I imagine you train like you perform, right?
Yeah.
So imagine like when you're training, you're still making all the same noises, right? You're using all of your
not more training. Oh, no. We're just doing wrestling holds, taking bumps. We're not doing the whole character development. That's learned in the ring. Every night wrestling. Now these guys are different. They're doing a lot of performance practicing in practice. We would really just do wrestling train, stay in shape, do all the wrestling holds. But when we would the only way we become better is performing. So performing in an audience, that's how you develop the skill. And we were able to wrestle 6 nights a week. These guys now don't. So they have to probably do it a little differently. So
probably have to do it a little differently. And then two, it's so uncomfortable sometimes too, like performing when you're not performing, right? So like there has been several times where like when we do our full band rehearsals, like getting ready for like the year of shows that we have, we will usually either the last day of rehearsals do all of rehearsals on live or bring in, you know, hey, like, who are our biggest fans that want to come in and like sit through a rehearsal day with us so we have someone to perform to, you know what I mean? But I've learned that like if you can't, not even if you can't, it's just been really beneficial for me to perform in here by myself the same exact way that I'm going to on stage.
That's very smart.
You know, and it really helps me, especially with just like the cardio of like vocal control, like that really helps. But just even more so, like, I don't know, you don't want to go out on stage and dance for the first time. You know what I mean? You don't know what you look like. Everything feels weird. Everything's whatever. So like I do a lot of my stuff full performance at home by myself. But I'm also like a weird perfectionist. And like, I don't want to see my bandmates watch me dance for the first time. I want to have it right before even rehearsal.
Okay. So at least you're figuring that out. And that's the athlete in you. All right. So what are your goals in music? What do you want to accomplish? What are your ultimate goals?
Man, I want to provide people with the music that I was provided with as a kid. And I feel like sometimes that seems like a really loosey-goosey goal or whatever, but there are a lot of different artists that at different times in my life gave me that album, right, that was going to get me through that season. And it's something that we try really intentionally to do, but it's also something that we really lean on God to get the songs to the people that they need to, or energy or universe, whatever you guys believe in kind of thing. Like, I just believe that there's such an intentional point of music. And so with that said, that's where the numbers come in for me. I don't necessarily want a world tour because I want to be that famous. I was lucky and unlucky to grow up in a household of famous people, and it was actually really, really hard. It was really, really
famous people. Oh, we didn't talk about that. Go ahead. Who did you?
Well, I just did. I just talked about it, but I'm explaining my answer here in the sense of like, I've seen what that looks like, and it's really, really hard. So when I look at my career and the world tour and all that stuff, it's like, that's what you have to do to reach that amount of people to affect them with your songs. You know what I mean? Like, it's very much a job for me, like that looking at that lifestyle in that way. So all that to say, all of our goals, you know, they have the big numbers, they have the arenas, they have, you know, that lifestyle, but it's so that you can reach numbers, you know, like 10 million streams and 20 million streams and
you'll let it happen. Let go and let it happen. It sounds like.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. All right. So best place people can find info and stuff on you and download your music now again is?
Yes. So all of our music is on all streaming platforms. Wherever you guys listen to music, you can find my stuff, Allie Colleen. I am most active on Instagram. Really, really active on Instagram as far as if you want to follow our journey personally. we do a lot of stuff on Instagram, also on TikTok, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. But if you guys want to stream our music, Spotify and iTunes and Amazon, all that kind of stuff.
Appreciate it, Allie. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show.
I don't know how to edit.
But I can.
I can't work this camera.
But I can.
I can't get this to work. But I can. I can do this. Now I need you to do the rest. Please volunteer at BPTV. Josh, let's get this show on the road.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and I'm so excited about my guest today. She has appeared on Top Chef and more, and is a James Beard winner. I'm excited to welcome to the program celebrity chef Michelle Bernstein. She's going to dish on her health journey with psoriatic arthritis. How are you, Chef? Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks. I'm awesome, Neil. Thanks for having me here.
All right, so let's tell us who else is with us today.
So on behalf of Novartis, I am here with my rheumatologist and my hero, Dr. Carlos Sesson.
Hi, Dr. Carlos. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah.
Thank you. We wanted to raise awareness about psoriatic arthritis.
Okay, so let's talk about specifically enough how you found out you had it. How did that happen?
So I didn't know I had it, but I had a lot of pain. I had terrible stiffness. My joint pain was so much so that I really had a hard time even just walking after getting out of bed. And then let's not even talk about my career and cooking and you know, I had a hard time doing all the things that I would normally do. But I really in my head thought that my career was going to be terribly affected. And so it took me a while to really come to grip and come to terms with the fact that something was going on, because it was getting progressively worse. And I was afraid to even tell my husband about it because, you know, once you put it out there, you don't know what's going to happen afterwards, right? So I finally spoke to my sister, and she did a little digging. And, you know, she remembered that I had psoriasis, which I have a very small spot on my leg. It wasn't a big deal. And so I didn't even remember that. And she said, I think you need to go find a rheumatologist. And I was like, well, why? I don't think I have arthritis. And she said, I think you have psoriatic arthritis. It totally makes sense. And so I went out and found my doctor, and he's here with me today. And I feel like a new person.
Now, Dr. Carlos, once you saw her, were you pretty much identified, you knew what it was, right? Once you got in.
You know, when you sit down with any patient, you know, you have to go through a process of speaking to them, examining them, and gathering information. But it became pretty quickly obvious that what she had was psoriatic arthritis.
Yeah, and definitely when she figured that she had that, what were your thoughts, Dr. Michelle? Did you think that was were you upset about it? How did you respond to it?
To be honest with you, I was at first shocked, but second of all, to just actually for someone to just tell me what was going on with me. And that was number one. To get the diagnosis was such a big deal. And then eventually to know that there was a possible treatment out there that could work. I mean, the whole thing was kind of mind-blowing. And doctor, you made it really easy for me to understand. And I guess my fears were all put aside with the idea that I could just feel better and that I could have my, you know, I could in my mind have my career back. I never lost my career, but you know, all these things were not lost, right? And so I was very hopeful, and I think I'm just really lucky, to be honest with you.
And Dr. Carlos, what is the treatment when you have that diagnosis?
So, you know, we sat down together. You know, you have to, as a rheumatologist, you have to examine the aspects of psoriatic arthritis and then take that into consideration together with her other health-related concerns. So we sat down together, we put our heads together, and that's when we decided that the right choice for her was Cosentyx. It also is called secukinumab. It's a prescription medication for active psoriatic arthritis in individuals that are 2 years of age or older. So we talked about the medication, the advantages, the benefits of it, but we also talked about possible side effects. The most important side effects to think about are allergic reactions that can occur, also possible infections. So it's also very important to keep in mind things like if you have fever, chills, sweats, if you have a cough, those are important things to keep in mind. There are other side effects that are also available on the website.
And Dr. Michelle, Chef Michelle, when you found out specifically medication, everything, what progress has you made? Kind of give us the update where you are today after treatment and everything.
Well, you could tell in my work. So I'm opening 4 new restaurants this year. I play hide and seek regularly with my kid. A lot of new recipes on the horizon, a lot more TV than I've ever done. And it's been an incredible year. I can't say enough about it. I think people really have to go to savorlifewithpsa.com to really become an advocate for yourself, to find all those questions that need answers. And for me, you know, I have empowerment. You know, knowledge is power. And I feel like through this whole thing, I have only gained knowledge and understanding that, you know, I'm the only person that can really speak up for myself, and thus finding diagnosis and treatment. And so, you know, it's a wonderful feeling to be able to give that back to people.
Now, let's kind of, when you talk about this, where would you have been if you did not get the treatment? Would you be able to do what you're able to do today?
I don't think I'd even want to know, to be honest with you. Let's put it this way. Waking up, I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself in the morning. So it's pretty incredible feeling right now. And so to be able to share that and be able to just let people know that they have to find doctors that they can trust, and just, you know, talk to people, talk to doctors, and do it before I did. You know, I waited a little bit. And so I just recommend to not have those feelings in your own head. Just go find someone you trust, find an amazing doctor like I did, who will eventually send you to a specialist, a rheumatologist, like Dr. Sesson, and just speak up for yourself and, you know, take that journey, because it might take you to places like it did for me.
And Dr. Carlos, anything to add for people that might think they're suffering from this?
I think it's important that if somebody feels that they have arthritis, that they have an inflammatory arthritis, pain, stiffness, swelling in multiple joints, a lot of soreness, stiffness in the mornings, lasting half an hour, that they need to pay attention to that, and they should really seek the care of their primary care doctor, because if it does seem to be, for example, psoriatic arthritis, they would really benefit from referral to a rheumatologist. So it's very important that they take this seriously and they seek care, especially since we know that if we catch things early, we can actually help prevent joint damage.
That's fantastic. And Chef Michelle, new projects going up for your fans. Where can they go and check everything out and all that?
I would say to go to savelifewithpsa.com. Really to get a lot of the answers for all these questions, but also I'm doing great videos. You can find out what I'm up to, and you can find some of my best recipes like my arroz con pollo on there.
Well, we appreciate it, guys. It's great information, something that's really needed, because when people are going through certain pain and they don't know what to do, there is resources available, and you gave us some great information today, especially if other people have symptoms like you had, Chef Michelle. So I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Neil.
All
Thanks
right.
for having us.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.